Welcome back to Reimagined with Robin. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Reimagined with Robin is a 15-minute live conversation with someone who is working to reinvent how we interact with the world we live in, from physical spaces to how we run a business. Let's turn to our audience right now. I have a request for you guys. Right now, go into the chat, type in your favorite brand of coffee, whether it's Dunkin' Donuts or Birch Coffee or Starbucks. Let us know. As our responses are coming in, I'm going to introduce our speaker today because we're talking about Cafés Reimagined with Robin. So great to be here today with Nicole Mozeliak, COO, Chief Operating Officer of Odeko. Nicole, tell us, what is it that you're reimagining at Odeko?
Thanks, Robin. Super excited to be here. So at Odeko, we're reimagining small businesses and we're focused on the cafe space. And what we look to do is partner with these small businesses and help them build the technology stack that most franchises have already built into their system. So you think about the Starbucks and the Dunkin' Donuts, they have access to scalability and technology that helps them stay profitable. But what does a small business owner or a cafe owner have available to them? A lot of times it's apps that they have to aggregate together and they have to figure out how to manage their business. And all of that time takes away from the things that they really were passionate about when they started the business. And so we partner with them to try to give them back that time and to give them back margin in their business so that they can continue to grow. So we're that partner.
So, where is it happening today? It seems like there's so many coffee shops, cafes all over the US.
There are, and right now we're focused in the US. And if you think about the coffee industry as a whole, it's a $55 billion coffee market. Starbucks has about $18 billion of it. Dunkin' has another $7 billion, which leaves $30 billion in the small independent cafe space. And that's what Odeko has the opportunity to support. So it's a big business. We started with the supply chain lines, and by doing that, we've created a 100x improvement to the existing supply procurement process for these small cafes. And once they're fully established, oftentimes we are able to then support other core aspects of their business. So think like payroll or marketing or learning resources, all of which will be part of our technology franchise stack that we're offering to them as their business partner.
So you touched on a lot of big vocab here. When I think of a coffee shop, I think of the customers, I think of the baristas, I think of the coffee that I go there for, but you talked a lot about things that are happening behind the scenes. So maybe let's dive into the piece about supply chain. So what is supply chain for a coffee shop to begin with? Because, at Starbucks, you don't really think about it. You're like, it's just, I order from a mobile app and it comes to me.
Right. I think about everything that goes into a cup of coffee, from the water to the coffee, just for a regular drip coffee. Those are the basics. But then you get into the more complex coffee beverages. Everybody's got their favorite combination. And some of these beverages can have anywhere from 5 to 7 ingredients. Then you add the food items. Then you add all of the grab and go or ready to drink products that are typically in a pastry case, so that it's a one-stop shop. And every small business truly wants to have a unique offering. So oftentimes the cafes are on the hunt for the bespoke products that are made locally, that are in the bakeries, and are not offered in the Starbucks and the Dunkin' Donuts of the world. So for them, there's a procurement angle that they have to go find that product, figure out a competitive price that they can buy it at, have it delivered. There's multiple delivery options that then happen. They have multiple suppliers coming into their store, typically during business, interrupting the customer flow, which is not ideal and not usually what a cafe owner realizes. That wasn't what they imagined when they decided to open their business. So what Odeko is able to do is to curate a customizable, unique offering that's all the core ingredients you need to make a beverage, from cups to milk to all those ingredients, as well as all of your food and pastry, your ready to drink products, aggregate that into one delivery. And actually we do it overnight, so we're not disrupting the customer flow. So when you walk in the morning, a barista walks into a fully stocked beautiful setup. And having been a barista at one point in my life, I really appreciated having a well set up morning because it added to the flow and you really got a nice vibe going and you got to converse with your customers. And quite frankly, that's what most business owners and cafe owners wanted to do. They wanted to be a pillar in their community. They wanted to be part of something. They didn't want to be focused on whether or not they've got enough cups to service their morning rush. And so we take the worry away for those cafe owners by doing that. And we've been able to then add margin back into their business because we're buying it at the scale that they wouldn't necessarily be able to. So we're getting them great pricing as well.
Wow, that's so helpful. How does technology enable all this to happen? Like, how does that come into the equation?
So we're building this invisible franchise stack, right? So it's the things that the Starbucks or Dunkins of the world have already had for years. And we're saying, we need to offer this to the small business owners. So technology underpins it all. It creates efficiency. It creates scalability. If that's what the cafe owner wants, instead of having one shop, they can go to 2 or 3. They can expand. And there's a system of technology behind them. So we have a mobile app. We've got a portal for ordering our supply chain and our logistics. All of those things are in one system. And so as a result, they end up with a really amazing platform that they can log into and have all of their resources at their fingertip. And we continue to add to that on a regular basis. Like right now, we're working on things around the learning center. So how to train a barista on how to do a pour over. Every small cafe owner is figuring out how to do that and teach their new baristas how to do that. What if Odeko was actually providing the how-to for them and they're just literally downloading it and having them watch a video? So there's amazing things that we can do with our technology stack that creates a lot of time and efficiency for a cafe owner.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess for a cafe owner, like we've had iPhones now for over a decade and we're so used to it, whether we're doing social media or tuning in to watch the news every morning, going on YouTube or TikTok. Or like it's kind of hard to imagine that on your other side of your life, your professional life, where you spend most of your hours, if you're a coffee shop owner or barista, that was all still phone calls or trying to negotiate and figure out how to get deliveries done. Odeko is putting in the technology layer and making it super simplified for them to run their business.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you simplified it perfectly. Everybody's got an iPhone or some type of smartphone in their hand, but when you got to the business side of their world, it wasn't always enabled the same way. Pen and paper is still a big thing in some of these independent shops, taking inventory. We have smart predictive technology that helps with inventory management, where you're actually, based on the weight of the product on the shelf, we can tell you how much you should reorder. So there's a lot of very cool things that we can do, and all of which puts time and energy back into the cafe. So these cafe owners can actually do what they love. And that was to open up a cafe and serve coffee 1 cup at a time and talk to their customers and really get to know them.
It's wonderful. I guess I've been lucky to know you now for a few years. And I remember when I first met you, you told me you actually started off your career in coffee. And so can you tell us a little bit about that? And why is there now you hit that first wave of disruption, and why is there now a new wave of disruption happening?
Sure. I mean, I started my career really in the hospitality industry, and I was working for Starbucks actually in the first store in New York City. And during the 14 and a half years I was there, we grew, I think, 400 stores. And I did a variety of jobs, and it was an amazing time to be in the industry. And quite frankly, Starbucks created an industry that everybody could join in. And when I left coffee, I continued to stay in the startup world because I really wanted to be part of a community. I wanted to be in a smaller segmentation of the business world where I knew I could help make an impact and grow. Coming back around to coffee and I've known Dane and you probably about the same amount of time. And having met Dane and seeing his vision for how to help a small cafe owner have all of the features and benefits of a true franchise stack like a Starbucks or a Dunkin' got me super excited. And I'm certainly a coffee enthusiast, and everybody in my family and friends will tell you I kind of mainline coffee on a regular basis. So for me, it was great to come back full circle and to actually be somebody who can help these small cafe owners. And to answer your question on why now, I think that COVID has been an interesting shift in the dynamic of cities in general, right? And how people procure things. I think life slowed down on purpose. Some people have chosen to pick it back up. Others have chosen to continue to keep it slowed down. We're seeing a shift into the small mom and pops. People got really passionate during COVID in making sure that the mom and pop shops on their corners stayed in business and tried to help in every way, shape that they could. So I think for us, the QSR community has always had the ability to adopt tech very quickly. The small and medium businesses have not always had that opportunity, and COVID accelerated that. People went to, it's the QR code came back. I mean, I think everybody probably thought that was a dead technology.
Or will we ever adopt it here in the US?
Yeah, and so now every menu is a QR code and everybody's using their phone for mobile ordering, and it became much more important. So how do you enable the small cafe owner who didn't have access to a mobile ordering app? And now it's mainstream. People are used to it. And so I think that there's this resurgence and opportunity to reinvent this cafe space. And coffee is here to stay. It's a huge market. I mean, if you think about just domestically, that $55 billion, it's not going anywhere. We need it. We're addicted to it. It's the only legal drug out there is caffeine. And so the reality is, we're going to see it continue to thrive. And as we continue to do that, we want to be there to support the people who need it the most.
How will our world be changed by Odeko in the next 5 to 10 years?
So let's say you decided to open a coffee shop in the next 5 years. So you could come to Odeko, and traditionally it would probably take you roughly 6 months. You figure out where to get your real estate. You've got to go through the whole lease process. You're talking to lawyers. You're figuring out what products you want to offer. Odeko actually gets to curate that for you. And that's what, in the next 5 years, we're going to help you pick that real estate. We have predictive analytics right now that could tell you what corner you should be on, where you should place your cafe for the best foot traffic. We'll help you with your lease. We can help you figure out how to curate the best products that are unique to you and the style of your cafe. And then ultimately on your very first day, we're going to cut that 6-month period of time down to something much more manageable. You're opening up and you actually have margin built in, and hopefully a operational process that enables you to take a day off, have enough profit in your business to take a vacation. Many of these small business owners, it's so hard for them to take a day off, much less go away for a week, and then also make sure that there's enough profit in the business for them to survive. So those are the things Odeko is going to do. That's what's going to change in this world in the next 5 years. We're going to be that go-to partner, and we already are today, but we'll be even more involved with all of the site selection, all the way through to managing your marketing strategy, your web design, labor technology, payroll systems, you name it, we'll be able to do it.
Wow, it's like a coffee shop in a box.
It really is.
May not be here at GGV in 5 years then. Might be following my coffee passion. And this question is for you specifically, how are you reimagining yourself as a leader this year?
Yeah, I feel very fortunate that my whole career has kind of prepared me, I think, for this position, and to come home to coffee and to be in an industry that I'm so passionate about. It's been great. And I think what's great for us now, and where I'm really focused, is how do I share the leadership skills that I've acquired over the course of my career with the people at Odeko, but also with the cafes that we support. And oftentimes I work with a couple of our coffee shops currently, and we talk about how do you scale, how do you open up more businesses, how do you hire the right talent. And so for me, it's really helping extend my leadership skills to those around me and those that we support. So I'm excited about that, and I've really enjoyed over the last couple of months getting reacquainted and super intimate with coffee again. So that's been a nice journey for me.
I feel like I can always smell the coffee whenever I'm talking to you guys. and you know, I really wish that Odeko was also in my pantry. It would be so nice to have that restocked all the time.
Wouldn't that be nice? We might have to set up a special delivery.
Yeah, I think so. Well, my colleagues and I at GGV are so thankful to be on this journey with you and Dane and the Odeko team. So thank you so much for sharing everything today, and stay tuned for future videos.
Thanks, Robin, for having me.